email and I'll get the answers for you. Okay? We just don't have time tonight. The land use committee, Chris, was there anything you wanted to?
We have a motion. Do you want to defer that until after the
Can we?
presentations? Whatever
I
you
would.
think, Sue. All right, that's fine.
Let's
It's
defer
an
it.
important motion. Everybody stick on the call so we can get a vote on that motion.
Okay, there's no old business. So now, I apologize to these wonderful people who've been waiting all evening. Kurjan Lee, who's with Strategic Communications, and Yigi Ruiz, who is a civil engineer from LA County Public Works, and they're going to be telling us about the path. They're going to be telling us about the
Marvin Braude project and Santa Monica Canyon Channel restoration. Thank you so much. If it's okay, we have a brief presentation. I'm going to try to share my screen if that's okay.
Okay, how brief is it? I'm just curious.
We can do this in like 8 minutes and open up to questions.
Okay, and then maybe if you could send us whatever it is you're going to share, we could
Absolutely.
also we can send it out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just to check, you can see my screen. Everyone can hear me, yes?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So my name is Kurjan Lee. Again, I'm the Strategic Communications Manager at LA County Public Works. Iggy Ruiz is a Senior Construction Manager. He's joining me today, and he'll be talking about the project itself. We have a brief presentation, what brought us to this point, a little bit of the history of the project, the major storm that ended up affecting a portion of the approach to the bridge, and then we'll open up for questions. Want to give you very quickly a brief background on the department. LA County Public Works is the county's builder. So we manage about $6.9 billion of active projects, including 230 infrastructure projects with a value of over $2.9 billion. This Marvin Braude and Santa Monica Canyon Channel Restoration Project is one of those projects. Community engagement is fundamental to that work, and so is building and maintaining public trust. So we do appreciate the time that we're able to take with you today. The trail, just a level set for everyone on the call, is a 22-mile long path along the county coastline, stretching from Will Rogers Beach to Torrance Beach. The trail has an estimated 10,000 visitors a day and is enjoyed by some 6 million people of all users' abilities each summer for walking, jogging, and riding bikes. The original project at Will Rogers Beach was opened to the community in May 2023. And that was to make the trail safer for pedestrians of all abilities. It introduced a new 14-foot bike-only trail, in addition to the existing pedestrian trail, again, making it safer for all users. And it aligns with the county's goals for long-term beach access and climate adaptation along the coast. Now, a quick mention of the February 24th storm. It was historic, if not unprecedented. Pacific Palisades received 15 inches of rainfall in the month of February alone. That's equivalent to the total amount of the annual average rainfall for the LA Basin for a year. We received that water year 30 inches over the course of the entire year. There were numerous atmospheric rivers and king tides that damaged infrastructure up and down the county coastline. In addition to the Will Rogers portion of the Marvin Braude bike trail, the southern portion at Doc Weiler received about $2.5 million in damage, and there was also severe damage to the Ventura Pier as well. At this point, I want to turn over to Iggy Ruiz, who can talk to you about what's happening now, the project to restore the Santa Monica Canyon outlet, as well as the trail, the Marvin Braude Trail. Iggy?
Thank you, Kurjan. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Iggy Ruiz. I'm the Senior Construction Manager of the Northwest area of the county. I've been a public works employee for over 30 years. And the board authorized the repair of the damaged bike path and simultaneously improve the Santa Monica Channel outlet. Next slide, please. The primary goal of this project is to restore and enhance the trail ensuring long-term usability and resilience. And in addition, we are upgrading the channel outlet to improve water outflow and mitigate erosion risks. These improvements will boost safety and provide more secure recreational access for all users. And the project is supported by a budget allocation of about 4.2 million. Next slide, please. So in December 2024, the board formally approved the project and acknowledging its critical role in post-fire recovery and long-term coastal sustainability. And following the FEMA's authorization to proceed, the contract was executed on May 27, 2025. Next slide. The project has obtained all regulatory permits, including formal approval from the California Coastal Commission. Comprehensive post-fire soil and water quality testing confirmed that contaminant levels are at or below natural background thresholds. Next slide. So the improvements that we're doing is we're realigning the bike path, and it's shifted landward. This is to eliminate the vulnerable lower loop near the ocean tidal zones, reducing erosion risk and improving user safety. Next slide. And channel outlet modifications include heavy grading equipment to reshape the outlet channelizing flows to prevent flooding and sediment buildup. Next slide. So sheet piling barriers will be installed adjacent to the path to protect against erosion and water intrusion. This fortifies the trail against future storm events. And next slide. So the timeline, we started last August, and we are scheduled to finish by the end of the year.
Wow.
The hours are from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And like I mentioned, it's FEMA eligible for reimbursement. And back to you, John.
Thank you, Iggy. So we did hear some early concerns about the dewatering operation, basically moving water from the site so that we could do the work. Again, the purpose of that operation, as Iggy alluded to, is to remove tidal water infiltration from the grading area using pumps. And so that's basically water coming from the ocean or underground into the area. We also noted that there were concerns about the quality of that water. So we reached out to our partners at the City of Los Angeles, who are responsible for water quality coming from the channel, and they actually operate a low flow diversion structure in the or for the canyon channel area, and this diverts all dry weather runoff in the channel to the sanitary sewer system of the city's Hyperion wastewater treatment plant. The city confirmed that solution is fully operational and no bypass, no water has occurred or left that site during this summer. The city conducts weekly water quality monitoring in the ocean. That's in front of the Santa Monica Canyon Channel. And they've confirmed again that there are no exceedances of bacteria limits in recent weeks. So our objective is to be a good neighbor during construction and to mitigate any inconveniences to the public to the best we can. We know that we had a resident during the time that we started with one method of dewatering, which was making it airborne, and that individual came into contact with some mud, and we apologize for that. As soon as we were alerted to it, we changed our process, and as you can see now, we're now diverting water to the north and south of the site. The area is bermed off, and it's actually cordoned off from the public as well. So there's no contact with that site. Again, working with transparency is key to us. We want to make sure that we're good neighbors and that we are open to and that you can reach us with your comments or concerns. The on-site construction manager is Cyrus. You can reach him at his email address here, his phone number as well, and we have a 24/7 dispatch that we operate. We have a website as well, a project website. You can use your cell phones to scan the QR code that's there, and we'll leave that up during our Q&A. And I'll also have a link to the website in the chat when we wrap up. With that, we'll open to questions.
Okay, we have a couple of hands up. I'll just say first, quickly, thank you all so much because we can't wait to get this bike path back. We've been missing it. So thank you so much.
I'm an avid user. I've been playing volleyball at the green wall for the past, gosh, it's almost been 15 years,
Oh, wow.
and biking that section. So I was as thrilled, I think, as you are to have that section of the bike trail. So I can't personally wait to have it back as well.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful. Thank you. Karen? Sharon?
Yeah, hi. It's nice for you guys to join us. I am a resident in Santa Monica Canyon, and I have witnessed a lot of the debris and the mess that has went down from the channel because the diversion has not worked. It was plugged with mud from the fire debris, and it went right into your area, and you guys have spent a lot of time removing all that mud, and now it is plugged up again. The mud is already filled up after the city has come and removed it. So you're going to have more than one problem. And I would suggest that you work County Public Works, which is your division, in cleaning all the storm drains. They're filled with debris, trimmings. Someone dumped a bunch of cement last week up on East Rustic. It's all coming down and plugging things up. So it's going to divert into the area of where you're working. So I would expedite the cleaning of the channels, getting all this debris matter out, because when it rains, and it probably will, it's going to just flush down, and just your project is going to be delayed by, a longer period of time. So you have a lot of work to do in these channels. I have pictures. I will send them to the appropriate people. Arus from CD11 is well aware. So I'm just saying, you're going to have a big problem if you don't first take care of the mess in the channels and get the diversion area cleaned up once again. Okay. And that's what I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
And the
we'll
water.
reach out. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The water too, when you were spraying it on all the people on the bike path, I was sprayed that day, along with a couple of neighbors that were, compromised physically, and were very concerned about the creek water. That water in that creek is coming from the channels, not just the ocean water. So that actual pond water is never tested. The ocean, where it flows out to, is. So we do not know what was in that actual pond. I talked to the guy that tests the water, and he says, no, we don't test the actual channel water. So that is a big concern, because they're now unloading it onto the sand, and people lay in the sand, and that had a lot of fire debris material in that water. So, people are a little nervous about that too. So maybe some soil testing in that sand should be also done. I'm just letting you know, the word is on the streets that people are really nervous about that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. And we fenced that area off. I want to go back to Sarah's comment earlier about stormwater best management practices. That's essential, keeping that debris or the sediment from these individual properties that are now cleared, having the baffles and other BMPs in place so that they don't overwhelm or inundate the storm drain system. Critical to this effort. So thank you for the comments.
Yeah. Sharon's good. She's like your on-site professional consultant, and she works for free. That's awesome.
We might tap you next time. Thank you. It was a great presentation.
Okay. Were there any other questions? You guys, this is all such great news. And again, if you could send us this, it would be terrific, because we'd love to get it sent out.
Thank you so much. We actually have contact information on the website as well.
Okay.
I'll add that website in the chat right now. And again, we want to thank you all for inviting us. Happy to come back with some milestones and to let you know when the project is done. Thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe we can have another party down there when it's done, like when the first one was done. That was great.
We'll meet you there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for waiting so long. You guys are great, very
Our
patient.
pleasure.
Now, another person who's been waiting a long time is Jim Craig. Jim, are we still together?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you. And Jim is going to talk about the LTRG.
Uh,
Go for it.
yes, is my presentation coming up on the
It
screen?
is. It's good.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Thank you, PPCC, ladies and gentlemen, for having me. It's actually kind of like being at home, though, because I think about half of the faces on the screen are on our board or in our committees, which is kind of a testament to what we're trying to do. We are trying to work with all of the other groups because we're coming in from a unique angle, and we want to try to bring everyone together in our area that we're working on. So what is the PAL-LTRG? This is the long-term recovery group. Where we're coming from, day 2 of the fire, you guys know we went down to the American Legion. We were astonished. The building was perfectly safe and preserved. We were able to clear it within about a week, and we turned it into the Palisades Wildfire Community Support Center, and basically turned it into a disaster response center. And we were running it with FEMA, Corps of Engineers, about 10 different agencies in there supporting people coming home and coming in before they get home. And about halfway through that, we had an event called the MARC, M-A-R-C, where we had about 30 volunteer organizations and nonprofits, and we had 1,600 families come through to meet these 30 nonprofits and get support, monetary support, material support, manpower support. That's when I found out, I'm like, who are you guys? And it's an organization called VOAD. And my 30 years in the military and doing disaster work in the military, I'd never heard of this organization. So I'm assuming nobody knew about it. And that's one of their problems, is people need to learn about what a LTRG is and what a VOAD is and what we bring to the community. So what it is that organization organized all of those groups. VOAD, Voluntary Organizations Assisting in Disaster, is a national level organization, and they have state VOADs, and then they have county VOADs. And what they do is they organize these 40 plus charity organizations, Salvation Army, Team Rubicon, Red Cross, the faith-based organizations, the Presbyterians, the Methodists, all these different groups. And the key thing is they bring all of those groups together with all of their assets and resources that they want to give, and they give it through one entity. They're giving it through one group that they set up and they deem as the official LTRG. Why do they do that? They don't want to double up on all the giving. They want to make sure that if Red Cross gives a family $50,000, that the next day later, they don't get $30,000 from Salvation Army. So the LTRG is tabbed. They came to us. They liked us. We were there from pretty much day one. We're a trusted entity in the community, the veterans. And they asked if we would be willing to become the official LTRG for the Palisades. And then a key thing in that, and I'll bring up the first slide. You'll see our leadership. It's local. Everyone in leadership has to be local with them. We have advisors from FEMA and from Cal OES and from City EMD and LA County, but they all back away. They're advisors. They certify us as a VOAD, but it's basically a locally run entity. What we do is we end up controlling a database of people, and this is how this works. Go on to the next one. Sorry. We end up controlling that database with a group of social workers called DCMs to get that batch of funds, and we're talking tens of millions. I don't want to say hundreds of millions, but there is a lot of support out there currently for Eaton Fire, Malibu Fire. Topanga has its own LTRG, and Palisades. So all of that is available to us, and then we bring that to the people. Now it says goals. The primary goal is providing disaster case management to affected residents with unmet needs. The key word you're going to hear from us is unmet needs. People with no insurance, people who are underinsured, the elderly, and not picking on the elderly, but helping the elderly because they can't easily apply for loans like SBA loans because they may be retired and not have jobs to pay back the loans. And then at-risk people. So those are the targets. Those are the ones we're aimed at. It's about 10% of the community. If any of you guys have heard my speeches, I always talk about 6,000 homes burned and 3,800 families displaced, still standing. As it just came out from FEMA, we have I believe 1,000 and about 47 families that, I'm sorry, 10,000 families registered, and we have 1,047 families that qualify. So about 10% of the 10,000 plus families are our targets to get actual financial. The support that we give, we always say it's money, it's manpower, and it's material. Manpower is like Team Rubicon. If you need bodies to come up and clear vegetation, we can coordinate for Team Rubicon to come over. If financial, Salvation Army or Red Cross may be giving out thousands of dollars to families who are coming up short. And then materials, free houses and free building materials. There are nonprofits out there who are who have stockpiled free roofing materials. So if you're doing a rebuild on your house, getting the free roofing materials could take 10 or 20 grand off of your costs. So we're coordinating with those organizations to bring it in. So far, we've already worked with Hope Crisis Network. For those of you who are needing house remediation, your house is still standing, they've already cleared for free over 60 houses. And Habitat's working with us, and I didn't get the numbers back on what they're bringing. But we're looking in the ballpark of probably about 100 free homes, complete rebuilds, free homes. I believe they have to be under 1,800 square feet for them to look at it. But there are free homes to be built, and those people we will be looking at the qualifiers to see who is in the most need. On this slide, you'll also see our secondary and supporting needs. We have programs in communication, wellness, and education, construction, safety, volunteers, small business, and employment support. Why is communication up there? Like I said, I've got 10,000 families that I need to connect with. There's a lot of groups out there doing wonderful things, great things for the community, community wellness events that are bringing in families. And while I am targeting those folks too, it's the families that can't make it back in. It's the elderly people who can't come back up easily to the Palisades. I am working with my team to communicate both digitally and in person with those 10,000 families to let them know that there's support for them out here through this program. So we found out early on, working with Cal OES, they put out a lot of digital support. They put out a lot of website support. And for those of you guys who know the American Legion, we found out early on in the American Legion that the 700 members, probably about 1/4 of them are not digital. So there's people in our community who don't have email addresses. So it's my challenge to get out there to contact, to draw those folks in, to communicate with them. And so we have contact lists from FEMA. These are controlled lists. These are not lists I can share with somebody because they want to put out their builder's information or something like that. These are controlled lists to reach out to people, to connect with them. So one thing I'm going to ask everybody here, when you can put out to your neighbors, if they get contacted by a disaster case manager, it's not a scam. There are disaster case managers out there. Catholic Charities received federal funding to put them on. They have grants for DCMs from CORE, from I think it's Little Tokyo, from Jewish Family Support, I believe, and there's one other. So people are getting calls from DCMs, and unfortunately, they think it's a scam and they hang up on them. But these DCMs are qualified social workers that are there to walk people through their through the challenges. So I'll flip to next. So here's the disaster case management. Again, what we do is we train up the disaster case managers. We locally set the criteria for what people will be qualified for. So it'll be different from people over in the Eaton fire. So there's a different qualification standard. So we set the qualification standard. The DCMs then meet with the families. They determine who needs this help. And so that 10% of the population that qualifies for an actual DCM, we'll talk about the other 90% in just a minute. But for the 10% that get the DCM support, they're going to take their packet and they're going to take that packet to what's called the donor table. The donor table will have the 40 donor agencies, like I mentioned before, and those agencies will be kind of like a Shark Tank, and they'll say, we can give this family $25,000. We can give this family $50,000. We can get this family concrete material for their house. And this is a 3 to 5 year process. So over that time, while people are trying to rebuild, they will be getting access to this. I should also say when they get access to us. When you come to a disaster case manager, what they're going to do is the first thing they're going to do is they're going to check on your insurance and find out, have you maxed out your insurance? And if not, they're going to help you. They're going to go to your look at your FEMA, and they're going to try and get you legal support to do your when you get turned on by FEMA to ask for their reeval. Next, they're going to look at SBA, and they're going to see what you can get from SBA. Once you've exhausted those things, and you don't have to take the SBA loan, you don't have to take the money from FEMA, but they want you to, then they're going to dip into these other funds from these other organizations that give you the grants. That's basically what the DCM program is all about. Next, I mentioned the communications. I'll just jet through this quickly. Like I said, it's, you know, they chose me to lead this. I've got 30 years in Army Special Operations deploying into austere environments. I am tasked with communicating, bringing aid, connecting with, and drawing in 10,000 families. So we've got a digital program set up. We're actually going to work with Larry Vane and Pally Strong on part of that. We're setting up a calling bank. Army Corps of Engineers gave us their playbook when they left, so we can make calls out. And the events that we put on to education events and the mental health support events that we put on are to draw people in so that we can get them signed up to see if they can get DCM support. These are just the objectives. Information, education, inspiration. When we talk about communication, I said I would talk about the other 90%. So remember, 10,000 families, and yes, we want to be able to get DCMs connected with that 1,000 families that we can get tangible support to. For the other 90%, we're putting on classes. We're putting on informational fairs. This October 5th, we have United Policyholders in. We have free legal aid. We're all other informational events coming up. This the education part, the key cornerstone to that was a class that we're putting on called Manage My Disaster Recovery. And I actually recognize a lot of faces here, people who've actually attended the class. We're putting it on twice a week for about 8 weeks. And it walked people through the process, and it even had a mental health component in it. So that was our basis. Now we're going to continue to teach that class, but we're also going to put on seminars and informational fairs that are based off of all the components of that class, because we think people have, for the most part, seen the information. Now they need to interact with the organizations. Key piece I like to talk about when it comes to putting out information and training is I need to turn you guys and your neighbors into force multipliers. The reason I want to train you in MMDR is I want you to be able to go to your neighbors and walk them through this. And for those people who can't make it in to get to a disaster case manager, if I can train you and give you the same information, then you can help those folks. So that's our goal there. The second part I'll mention down there is the mental health piece. One of the neat things, as I said, is that the PPLTRG it's an official organization. And there's a lot of great organizations. I think they're doing advocacy, they're doing community wellness, they're bringing people together, and I totally support that. And we're connecting with those organizations. Some of them are represented here. And we don't want to overlap with them. We want to work alongside them. What we are able to bring in is the official level. So when it comes to mental health, I'm working with the Department of Mental Health, and we're coordinating right now to have one-to-one clinical psychological support. So one-to-one psych therapy, and then family group therapy. For everyone says, hey, I don't need this, I don't need therapy, but I keep asking, what about your kids? And what about your the grandparents? And that's where the issues usually roll in. So Department of Mental Health is setting that up. It'll happen at the American Legion Post, and people will be able to make appointments, and it's free. Everything I'm talking about, PPLTRG, is free. It's coming from the donor funds. DMH is coming from federal funding. We're also putting on a class. Actually, I'm one of the instructors in it for the psychological first aid for disasters. And that is a class both for disaster workers and for families. Again, it's the kids. That's the biggest issue most of us have. I've got a 10-year-old. You all have heard my story. And we're working hard to bring the city back so those kids can recuperate and they can continue living their childhoods here. So that's that part of our communication, our interaction. We also do community wellness. But again, a lot of organizations are doing wellness. I don't think Palisades needs to have 3 yoga classes going on in the same afternoon. So a lot of neat classes. There's art therapy. There's all these wonderful projects. And so we're moving slowly into that area because we don't want to double tap on something that somebody else is out there already doing. This slide talks a little bit about PR media. You're not going to see this in other LTRGs. They're just focused on getting money from those who have it to those who need it. What we're recognizing here in the Palisades is our neighbors are the leaders in entertainment and media. A big issue in keeping funds from the national level, from the private foundations coming to the Palisades, is a matter of media campaigns. We have connectivity in DC for lobbying, but we're also working with our neighbors. And if any of you guys have any connections that want to offer up, we've been doing video content, and the idea is that we need to put out video content, digital content over the next 5 years to keep donors interested in keeping the funding flowing to the Palisades. A lot of people forget that, but we can't afford to have them forget us. And this is just our timeline. We're hyper organized. Sorry, that's the way we are. A lot of us are military, so that's how we roll. I'd already mentioned wellness and education. The classes that we've got going, mental health support. Last thing I'll say is finance. I greatly appreciate that the grant approved tonight from PPCC. We have 2 other grants have already come in, and we're applying for major grants. And we're very fortunate. A lot of the larger organizations we'll say, are trusting. One of the key things when they look at who they're giving grants to, There's a lot of startup organizations that come for great reasons in disasters like this, but we're very fortunate that we got tabbed into this official LTRG program, because that has opened a lot of doors and connected us right to the top with a lot of the funding situations. Last thing I'll say, I put on the connection, on the information thing there. Sorry, it's getting late for me. My web or email address, but on our website, www.paliltrg.org, is the button. On that button, people can register. So please, please, please forward that to your friends, your neighbors, put that out for us. What happens is when a person clicks on that information with their name and registration goes into an official registry, that it doesn't go for advertising or anything like that. That registry goes to the DCMs, and the DCMs reach out to them, and they then walk them through the access to the funding, the manpower, and the materials. I apologize for taking so long on that. Sorry to spit out as quick as I can, but thank you. I appreciate everything PPCC does. Any questions, please let me know. No questions? Great, thanks. Sue, I think you're muted.
I am so sorry. I
No
didn't want
problem.
you to hear the dogs howling and the sirens going. What I said, Jim, was thank you so much for waiting so long. And also, if people have questions, because we need to wrap this up in a couple of minutes, can they ask
They can-
questions through the website?
Yes, they can ask questions, and half the people on this board are on our board. So everybody, there's a lot of folks here who can support, who
Okay.
can answer questions. Thank
That's
you, though.
great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm so sorry, everyone, that we've run late, but we had a great meeting. We have one more thing on the agenda. And that is,
That is the motion by the Land Use Committee,
correct.
sponsored by the Land Use Committee. This should not take very long. This is, the motion reads as follows. Pacific Palisades Community Council strongly opposes SB 79. There's a mistypo here, but it's 79. We have long expressed our crucial concerns about the serious public safety impacts of housing density mandates, such as those in SB 79 on neighborhoods in the very high fire hazard severity zone, which is all of the Palisades. We further oppose all housing density legislation, such as SB 79, that fails to include a clear funding mechanism to support the resulting impact on infrastructure, public safety, and municipal services. PPCC therefore strongly supports the motion in Council File 251083 Park, which calls for a report back on the impacts of SB 79 on the City of Los Angeles, including an analysis of the costs to update the city's infrastructure and utility systems to support projected density from SB 79, and a confidential report to City Council on potential legal challenges and basis for cost recovery from the state, close quote. We provided on the agenda links to the various things. The park motion, which goes into greater detail about what she's asking for, the council file itself, and our past PPCC motions. To me, this is kind of a no-brainer, since it just supports what we already support. And of course, we want to support our councilwoman. SB 79 hasn't been enacted yet, but it's moving in that direction. So this is proactive. Any questions? Do you want to call for an easy vote?
Yes, I do. Is there anyone who objects to us being supportive of this motion? Okay, let's support it.
No abstentions, right?
abstentions?
Any abstentions? No abstentions. Okay, fine. It's unanimous. Great.
Okay. God
Thanks,
bless you all for
guys.
hanging in for this whole meeting. Honestly, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you guys have just the most wonderful weekend. Anything else? Anything else before we go?
Thank you,
Okay.
Sue.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.